if we don't control that narrative and we don't take it over and say, hey, I know you've seen this on these, from media, from the news outlets and stuff, that this is terrible.
You really have to think about when you post it, because we've had things like that you post it and you don't think much about it, and then all of a sudden everybody's seeing it and all kinds of people are seeing it that don't know you, and they're taking things out of context or not knowing what's going on. And so it's always important, like we try to think about it, but sometimes you don't know what people are going to see in a video.
You don't know who and what to trust anymore. I mean, it's just, like the TikTok deal. I mean, when I saw that the first two people wanting to buy TikTok when it goes up for sale is Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg.
Welcome back to the Wealthy Cowboy Show. This week we got Cody and Erika Archie on. You probably have seen them on social media as Bar 7 Ranch. They ranch there in my hometown of Gatesville, Texas, and also own a business there, and we're gonna get into all of that. And I tell people all the time that one video, one meeting, one handshake, one introduction, whatever, one event can change your life. And I feel like that's what's happened to y'all with your social media and all the opportunities that's brought up just posting some videos.
That's right. I just that one video that finally hit and took off. I mean, it spurred along. That was nearly 3 years ago now, and went from 300 followers to close to 2 million across all the platforms. So,
Spent 10 years posting on Facebook and Instagram, just telling our story of agriculture, and then one silly post about checking cows, and then spurred along all this.
What, like, when y'all got started posting and stuff, did y'all have a goal in mind, or were y'all just sharing stuff? Or
have you ever asked yourself why it costs so much to get paid? Hey everyone, this is a show that has a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners on, and the number one rule in business is to get paid, right? If you own a business, there's a good chance you're overpaying for credit card processing, and there's an even better chance that you're getting terrible customer service. At Diversified Payments, we make the payment process simple for both the customer and the business. Being based in Central Texas, we're able to offer business owners personal customer service while saving them money on their credit card processing fees. And we're the only payment company that I know of that's deeply rooted in the ranching and rodeo industries. If you think you're paying way too much in card processing fees, or you can't get in touch with your payment processor when there's an issue, go to diversifiedpayments.com/wealthycowboy.
We're really active in the Texas Farm Bureau's Young Farmer and Rancher program, and they harped on us and preached to us about sharing our story, be the voice of agriculture, so that other people tell our story, so that someone else isn't telling it for us. So anytime we were working calves or, doing anything, Erika would take some pictures. And I guess really before TikTok was really there, I mean, there was some video posting, but
mostly pictures and
pictures
things on
and
Facebook
just stuff
and
like
Instagram.
that.
But we were just kind of staying in our bubble of family and friends, because it's kind of hard to go viral, I guess.
And, we would just post that daily stuff that we were doing. If it was National Ag Week like it was this week, she'd put some statistics up or something like that. And then just, like she said, one day we were going to wean some calves for Carlos Webb, and I gave them the Denzel Washington line. I said, if you miss a cut today, you're going to run a mile. If you let a cow bluff you today, you're going to run a mile, And she posted it on TikTok there, and it got like 15,000 views. And the next day I was like, well, now that I'm the king of TikTok and I've had a video go viral, which that's not viral by any means. But when most of your videos have had
a couple hundred views,
300 or 400 views, I mean, it's like, we really hit the big times, and then.
But we instantly saw that opportunity from right then and went with it and kept on that momentum, and kept posting every single day after that.
That's one thing. So I don't even know how to post a video. I posted one video, and it was like August of last year when Erika was in the hospital with a migraine on her way back from
the trip that we're taking today.
Right. We were coming back from Oklahoma, and I'm like, how do I do this? And she's telling me while she's over there in a blacked out room trying to, wait for these meds to kick in. But she's excellent about posting our videos and staying on top of that. And that's one thing that, if I was going to encourage anybody in, no matter what, if you're just trying to share, farming and ranching, if you're trying to share finance, whatever it is you got to be consistent in your posts, and that's what Erika is. 3 to 4 times a day she's going to post across all platforms, and then twice a week we're going to have a long form YouTube video that goes up. So being consistent and staying on top of it, I think, is a big part of reaching success.
Yeah, and it's like a job. Ever since I started like being conscious of it and like thinking about it, it's like, I got to post something today. What am I going to post? And I forget sometimes, and then also forget about video and stuff. If you're out gathering cows and doing stuff like that, just living your normal life, you do a lot of cool, interesting stuff, but you forget to document it all. Pull your phone out, take a picture, video, whatever.
Yep.
It's always you got to like really think about it and then make it, and like editing it and doing all that stuff. I mean, it can turn into a job for sure, which y'all know.
Right. That was the hardest thing for me when once we kind of broke out and started to grow our accounts and everything, was when you go to do something, like you said, is to take the time to say, hey, it's going to take me 3 or 4 minutes, maybe at the most, to get my phone out and make a few different videos while we're doing that. It's not going to be the end of the world. It's not going to slow the momentum down that much. But, I spent most of my high school career and then after college working at Charles Graham's at the Beer Winkle there, and we were always understaffed and overworked. So it was never, this is what we got to get done today. It was just get everything as much done as you can today, because you're going to have to do it a lot more tomorrow. And so it was always rush. I always and that was hard for me when it came to content creation, was to slow down enough to say, hey, take a little time and explain this. Like I might be cutting a calf or something, but I wasn't saying anything to anybody, telling them what I'm doing or why I'm doing it or how I'm doing it, and it doesn't take that much time to just slow down and do that. So.
And just to recognize and think about that a lot of people out there, those mundane things that we do every single day, they don't see. And it's interesting to people to see those things that we do every day that we think we sometimes take for granted that we see them and do them every day.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of people. I guess the majority of people out there don't have a clue about agriculture or where their meat comes from or anything like that. And so like definitely controlling the narrative and posting educational stuff. And I posted a video the other day of us working some calves, and we were dragging them using a Nord fork, and I was using my glasses, so I showed rope and I'm dragging them. I stuck them with the fork and then cut them, branded them, vaccinated them, everything. And for some reason that took off and got several 100,000 views. And so it got out to people that have no clue, and they're like, what is he doing to this animal?
Right.
And I tried to cover up, pulling his nuts out and stuff. But it's funny when you start getting some reach, the people that you reach, and they have no clue what you do, because you're only like stuck in your own little bubble. And you think everybody knows, it's just a typical deal. We're going to run this calf in here, however you're going to do it, and basically give them vaccines and mark them with a brand or ear tag or ear mark or whatever it is, and roll on, and we don't ever think about it, but the whole rest of the world doesn't have a clue.
That's right. But that's our job as ag-related content creators, is to explain to those people why we're doing it and what the benefit to not only to us but to the animal is. Because if we don't control that narrative and we don't take it over and say, hey, I know you've seen this on these, from media, from the news outlets and stuff, that this is terrible the way we treat it, but realistically, when it's icy and you're in your house worrying about keeping warm, we're out there making sure this livestock is getting watered, it's getting fed. I mean, we're putting our own bodies at risk, our own families at risk, trying to take care of them. And I think people in general are hungry for information now, and they want to get it directly from the source, like us or like you or the other guys that you've had on here, because we're the ones that are down there doing it every single day, and they would rather hear it and see it from us. And if we take control of that and we say, hey, this is, everybody wants antibiotic free, but you don't want us to let a calf die because he's sick, right? Because then you're going to say we're not taking care of our livestock, right? But it's just making sure that we do our job of explaining what we're doing and why we're doing it to the general public. And I think we can overcome these hurdles that we've been behind for the last few years.
Yeah.
And like that video you said that you had that kind of went viral, something like that, you you really have to think about when you post it, because we've had things like that you post it and you don't think much about it, and then all of a sudden everybody's seeing it and all kinds of people are seeing it that don't know you, and they're taking things out of context or not knowing what's going on. And so it's always important, like we try to think about it, but sometimes you don't know what people are going to see in a video. But to recognize those things before you post, and kind of try to get ahead of the game and explain things in there, so that when it does go viral, those people know what's going on and they're not like, oh, they shouldn't have been doing that or shouldn't have been doing,
Yeah.
So that's the only downfall, is sometimes it can go out to a lot of people that don't know who you are and don't exactly know what's going on in that video.
Yeah, there's always going to be haters.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I had more hate like on that video showing something that people could see as animal abuse, I guess, if you didn't know any better. And I had more hate from like our own community of like, why is he dragging him so fast? Or why'd you do it like that? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, really?
The ag community, I tell this same joke kind of deal at every conference we speak at, it's like, they don't get it, but it's basically like we're from the flat. If we can't find somebody else to fight, we'll just fight each other, I mean, and it's terrible about that, because you got conventional guys that can't stand the regenerative guys that want to do stuff, and those guys can't. And you got organic farmers against conventional. It's just like, guys, do what works for you and don't worry about nobody else. If we all know that organic farming isn't going to feed the world, but we all know there are problems with conventional farming and ranching. It's just do what works for you and your family, what works best for y'all, right? Don't, but fighting amongst each other doesn't accomplish anything for any of us. It just makes us all look
we're
like
all
we
on
don't.
the same team.
Exactly, but we get the same thing. I mean, we'll do something and we'll get tore apart by the agriculture community about, and a lot of them don't realize that the way things work in Nebraska or Iowa ain't the same as in Texas. It don't work the same way. We don't do things the exact same way. And it's like, maybe step back and look at it and think about it, or ask a question as to why are you doing it that way, instead of, ridiculing or criticizing about stuff. So,
yeah, I've always tried to, like day working, which I've done for years, is I tell everybody is a customer service, job. It's not really a cowboy job. So no matter where you go, you got to just do whatever that person says and be happy about it, and make, your job is to make them happy. So I've worked calves, I think, just about every different way, through a calf table, through a chute, dragging them, whatever.
Back of a cattle trailer.
Yeah, in the trailer. I mean, obviously, I think that roping and dragging is more fun, but, sometimes that's not always how we do it. So you just got to roll on and go with it. But people want to hate, like, why are you working them in a trailer? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? I'm not going to go work there anymore because we do it this way. And it's just like, that's just how it goes, know? And nobody's right or wrong. Everybody just does it a little bit different. And if you don't like it, I always like to just go check it out, check out the operation, take the good and the bad, and then, you can learn from that. Whether, whether it's good or bad, you can learn from that experience and, use it in the future.
In the day working scenario, we manage a couple of cow herds for some other folks, and you're basically just an employee there. You can give your opinion, you can give your suggestions on what you think would be the best way, or, hey, I would do this if these were mine. But at the end of the day, it's their money, it's their time, and it's their livestock. You just do what you're told. And like you said, if you don't like it at the end of the day, you just, next time they call, well, you're busy that day, right?
Yeah.
You don't go back. So,
you don't have much say unless you sign the front of the check instead of the back.
That's right. Yep.
And y'all, I like, because y'all have a different perspective on things, kind of just being a up and coming, I guess, rancher and wanting to be involved in ranching in some aspect, but not having a whole lot of land. So you got to figure out the best way to utilize what you do have. And that's how I am too. I mean, we bought a little place, and it's like, how can I make this make some money? And you got to look at, I mean, I think I've tried all the stuff y'all have tried. We've ran sheep, goats, calved out heifers, traded on upgrader calves, straightened some cattle out. I mean, y'all are kind of going through all that and still playing with it. What all of y'all, explain some of that, what all y'all have done?
So when we first started, I was still working for Charles at the feed yard or the preconditioning yard. And, we didn't have, our house wasn't built out there yet. Everything was just a bare land. So we bought, bought a handful of bred cows. And I thought, well, I'm just going to do like everybody else does. We're just going to run some mama cows out here. We'll calve them out, and then we'll put a bull on them and raise some calves. Well, we did that for a little while, a couple years, and just, by the time you sprayed your weeds and you put out some fertilizer, well, you've used up your calf crop. You weren't making, we weren't making any money. In our county, you can go from stocking rates as good as, 5 to 7 acres for a cow down on the river bottom places up to, 15 or 20 acres to a cow when you get up there in some of that old brushy, rocky country that's not any count. Our place runs about now, after some improvements, but before we could run about a cow to every 10 acres. So it wasn't profitable. So, so we sold all of our cows, and I was like, well, I had quit working for Charles at that time and had taken a job in town selling pickups at the Chevrolet dealership. And the reason I did that was because I realized that I was killing myself working for somebody else's dream, and I was never going to have what I really wanted for my family if I stayed there the whole time. So we moved into Erika's grandparents' little house next to their old house, and I decided instead of running those mama cows, we're going to start running yearlings, because I'd been doing that for so long, working for Charles, straightening out yearlings. So we started buying cut bulls, and we did that for probably 3 years. We'd run 3 or 4 loads a year, and we were dealing through Eastern Livestock. I don't know if Eastern was around when you were. I think you were a good bit younger.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
So they got caught. When we first started dealing with them, you could call them and say, hey, I want to contract some cattle back to you. They would set you a contract price, put a slide on it if you got them too big or if they were too light. And then usually the day that they would come and load them, they would send somebody down to load them. And then you go across the scales, and as soon as they weighed them, they'd write you a check for them right then, take it to the bank. I mean, before they were out of the county, you were at the bank cashing your check. Mm-hmm. Well, then it got to, towards the end, it was like, well, we'll get you a check mailed out tomorrow. Okay. And then it got to where it was, maybe a week after they'd picked up the cattle, you were getting your check. And what they were doing was, cattle they were selling, they were waiting on that check to clear to pay for the cattle they were buying. And what ended up happening is they ended up picking up loads of cattle when they folded that never got paid for. So, there's a few guys there in T-ville and Turnersville that got hung out. They never got paid for 2 or 3 loads of cattle that got picked up. Mm-hmm. There's some more of those guys in Coryell County. So we were fortunate enough that, we had shipped our last load 2 or 3 months before that happened, and we didn't get, but that would have ruined us, if that would have happened to us, we'd have been, if we lost 50, at that time, a load of steers would cost you 50, 60 grand, and that would have wiped us out of the game. Mm-hmm. So when that happened, I was like, well, let's go another route. So we started trading heifers. We started buying open heifers. We just deal up some Brangus Baldies or something like that, and then put them for sale on the internet. And
like putting them together through the sale barns and stuff.
I'd had an order buyer just buying me, stuff within 100 pounds of each other, just kind of deal up, 25 or 30 head, and then sell them as a group to somebody to make them a cow herd out of, replacement heifers. And then we got to buying some bred heifers, and now we're just equal opportunity employers. I don't care if you're black or white, you're fat or skinny. I mean, if I think I can bring you to my house and keep you for a little while and roll you up a little bit, I'm going to put you to work. So, and we do that because when we've got good grass, we can buy a lot of cattle. And, if you can say you buy 20 or 30 head and you can roll them up $300, well, that's a pretty good hunk of change. That's like selling, a handful of calves. Mm-hmm. And you can do it all in a month or two's time and then move them down the road. Mm-hmm. So we continue to do that. But a few years ago, Clancy came to us, our son, and said, hey, Dad, I want something of my own. I'm like, well, I can't give you enough land for you to have cattle on, but if you wanted to buy some sheep, you could have some sheep. And he bought some Dorper ewes. He bought 25 Dorper ewes, about half of them lambed, and we sold half the lambs. And it was like, this half a lamb crop made more money than, what one calf would have brought on the same amount of land. Mm-hmm. So now we've grown our flock up to close to 100 ewes and selling lambs now. But we're moving forward on that I think there's a need for starter flocks, people that have smaller acreage, not enough acreage to run cows on, but they want to do something. Mm-hmm. So what we're moving towards is selling, groups of 5 to 10 ewe lambs that'll just be a little starter flock for somebody that's got a smaller acreage amount, and they can buy from us, know directly who they're getting it from, what kind of genetics they're getting, and then start their flock from there. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, and that's how I started. Was like, there's not much land, and it's like I was straight cowboy. It's like sheep and goats are stupid. I don't want to jack with it, And then you got this land, and you got a payment and all this stuff, and it's like, You talk to somebody, it's like, man, these sheep are making all kinds of money, or these goats are making all kinds of money. It's like, let's talk about that a little bit.
Yep.
And that's what we did was, and realized that also was that we bought those Dorper sheep, and of course the death loss is way higher. You got to deal with that, but the lambs were bringing so much per pound more than a calf, and you could raise more, and they grow fast and they breed back fast, and they're pretty efficient, and they can survive on not much, to eat. And when you do feed them, you don't have to feed them very much. And it's a pretty cool deal. And then when it got dry, we sold ours out, but, right. And then had some brush. So I bought some Spanish goats, and they've been pretty good. Same deal, very, very low maintenance, less than sheep. I mean, I don't work them, do nothing, just gather them every once in a while and sell some. And they clean the place up, and same deal. Like if you're going to feed them, they don't eat hardly anything. You put out a bale of hay for some goats, and it lasts them all winter, right. One bale of hay. So,
well, what we've seen some big benefits by the sheep. We've had our sheep for about 3 years now, and we just nearly don't even have to spray weeds anymore. I can move those sheep around. We've got, it's called a razor grazer and a portable electric fence system that we can set up. So I can confine those ewes to just where I want them. So if I've got some weeds coming up, about the only thing I found they won't eat thistles, and they won't eat buffalo burrs. That's the only thing I can't get them to eat. But most everything else, I mean, I've turned them in on sunflowers that were, over the top of your head, stalks that big around, and they'll eat them plumb to the ground, stalk really? And all. I mean, they eat it before they eat the grass. They just love it. So we've just used them now, right, mainly as weed control, and then still try to put out a little fertilizer every year. But I'm trying to get away from that just because that stuff's so expensive, and it's just you know. I'm one of the guys that I don't really want to bale hay anymore. I think that's a waste of time and money. I think I can buy good quality hay cheaper than I can grow it myself and graze that throughout the year, or leave it standing for winter grazing, just standing grass. So
yeah, and I think probably the way you're doing it, I mean, they're fertilizing right there, keeping them confined like that. They're going to fertilize while they're eating the weeds. So,
and if you move them pretty regular, you don't have to. I mean, we haven't wormed our sheep in 3 years, so I mean. We don't have a parasite problem. We'll get a few every now and then that'll get wormy, and we might worm them once. And if they don't make it after that, they get drugged to the dead pig. I know. Yeah. Hope that don't offend too many of you, but
survival of the fittest at our house.
But what that does is that builds a natural immunity in your flock, and then they pass it on in their genetics to their offspring, which makes it, we have less and less that we have to do for them and let them do it on their own. So
yeah, there's something to be said. Like in any species, if you're going to keep something long term, you can definitely breed for that, for parasite resistance and hardiness and all that stuff. Talk about the different opportunities. Just getting to visit with you all the time, or every once in a while when we visit, y'all are always doing something cool, it seems like, and it's usually came from, the social media following that you have. I mean, y'all we went to Disney World this summer, and I talked to you, and y'all went to Orlando also and went lizard hunting or some kind of cool deal. And y'all went to like New York or somewhere up there and saw all kinds of different operations. It's pretty cool.
You want to take that?
Yeah, ever since this happened, we've just a lot of people have reached out to us for speaking opportunities to talk about kind of telling our story and how we got started as first generation ranchers, and including how we tell our story on social media. So we've got to travel a lot of places like that. And we always try to do something fun and kind of hook up with somebody maybe that is also a creator or influencer online too. That's kind of what we did in Florida. Was that guy's also, he's a creator as well. So
Python Cowboy, check him out.
Yeah.
He's pretty cool.
So we always try to loop something fun in there and hook up with somebody else too while we're on the road. So we've got to travel like once a month at least, probably since for the last year, probably.
Yeah, we've spoken at quite a few of the State Farm Bureau Young Farmer and Rancher programs about helping them tell their story, how they can get started on social media to spread the word about their operation. New York, we are merchandise partners. So, kind of what I've seen from most anybody that's been involved in social media is they're kind of nobodies, and then they break out of their shell a little bit, and then people start asking for merch. So they start either producing or buying, selling merch, and then that moves into speaking engagements. Kind of the same path that we've been along here. We used to produce all of our own merch in Gatesville, there where we're from, and just box it in our house. And it got to the point every day I was taking 4 or 5 big bags of caps to the post office and dropping them off. And then people are asking for shirts and all kinds of other stuff. So we found a partner that produces all of that for us, and then they handle all the shipping and everything. And he's in New York, and I know we're going to get some hate on that, but he offered the best deal for us at the time and does a great job for us. So, and he really is.
He's in a rural small town too. So
yeah, everybody thinks of New York, and I thought the same thing the first time I went up there. I said, this is going to be man, that thing is, those people are all just like us, the ones that are out in the country, and where they're at is just out. Lots of dairies, lots of cropland and things like that. So he's been really good to us and really a partner. He's not it's not just a business relationship. It's like a partnership. We work well together, and he takes care of all of our shipping and everything. So we go up there a couple times, once every year, to a big farm show they have in New York and meet fans. That's one thing that's really kind of humbling for me is we have followers and fans that are in New York. All of California, Washington State, all over the nation. It's like, why would y'all care anything about what some podunk guys down in Central Texas are doing?
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody on YouTube just last night that's in Australia, and I'm like, why is somebody in Australia watching us? That sounded way more interesting than Texas.
But it's just different. It's something they're not used to seeing, and they enjoy it and have a good time with it. So, and our banter back and forth and our family dynamics, I think, are a lot like real families are. I don't know how you and Shady are, but if you're not picking on each other, then that means something's wrong in our house. If you're getting the old silent treatment, it's because you did something wrong. But,
yeah. And then you ask, and they're like, oh, nothing.
Yeah, nothing's wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, I think now's a great time. Like everybody, like you said earlier, like everybody's craving information, and then also everybody's craving something real, nothing produced. And we talked about that before about the reality TV, and that's not usually real reality. It's usually staged, and a lot of times just shooting stuff from your phone and talking to your friends or your family or whatever and doing the things you do every day. That's what people want to see. And that's what I like. And then that's what I try to produce also.
You're doing a great job.
I appreciate it. Yeah. And y'all for sure, y'all are doing the same thing, just conversations that y'all have every day. And I always say, like, when we had our little reality deal going, if we could just video just our real life, just when we're going to work cows or we're going to do whatever, somebody followed you around with a camera. At some point during the day, something cool is going to happen. Something funny is going to happen. It would be pretty interesting parts of the day anyway. But, you don't always have that luxury, I guess, somebody to video you, and you never know when something's going to happen. So
who can afford to have somebody just follow them around all day, right? With a video camera?
Just Dale. Dale.
Well, yeah, Dale.
And one thing I've seen y'all have been doing is the carnivore diet. Speaking of Dale, we talked about that on his episode. How's that been going?
So really, I've been wanting to do that for a while, and Erika was a big
I did not want to do it.
Like she did Weight Watchers for a long time, and
Like
I
12
did. I tried it, and Weight Watchers is all right because you get to eat a little bit of everything, you know, but it's all portion control and all that.
Yeah.
But I was always hungry on that kind of stuff, and actually we were going to Memphis, Tennessee, to speak to the Mississippi Young Farmer and Ranchers program. They meet up there, and we were listening to you and Dale on the podcast there on the way up there, and she was reluctant, but she's like finally like, okay, I'll try it. And so when we got back, we got back on a Sunday night. I mean, Monday morning we started off, and we've been on it for just a little over this is the middle of the 5th week, right?
This middle, 5th week.
So I'm down about 16, 17 pounds. Erika's down about 12. And I mean, it's doing good. I mean, you would think you'd get tired of eating just eggs and meat and water, but so far it's going good. And she's actually better. I'm like, man, I really want to, I want to eat a salad with my steak
And
at
I keep telling them,
Roadhouse or something.
you're gonna cave and like cheat.
I haven't had a desire for sweets or anything like that much, but every now and then not even really bread or anything, but every now and then I want like just some ranch dressing or something like that. But I'm not cheating. I'm going to stay on it like we're supposed to. But
I think it's the best thing ever because I'm not ever hungry now. And like with Weight Watchers, I was always trying to find like something that was 0 points to nibble on because I was starving to death until my next meal. And now I just eat something for breakfast and then I'm not hungry until maybe 1 or 2 o'clock for lunch. And then your portions are even smaller. And I don't know. I feel good.
You've been on it for how long?
I don't know. I haven't really tracked it. A few months, I think. And I'm not like super hardcore strict. I'm pretty much carnivore. And then like every once in a while, I ate an actual cheeseburger with the bread on it the other night when we were coming home from the American. And I might have like one cheat meal every once in a while. But like you said, I don't ever crave anything. And I've always been kind of conscious of what I eat. And so it wasn't super hard. I didn't have a whole lot of bad habits besides drinking. And I did eat like fruits and vegetables and stuff. I thought they were healthy. And then I was like, I'm going to try this deal. A buddy of mine told me about it. And it was super easy to me. Like a lot of people I talk to are like, oh, but I love vegetables, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I haven't craved a freaking vegetable.
That's like, I love vegetables too, but I'm like, I'm totally fine.
Yeah, I used to think eating healthy was just eating like just a salad or maybe some chicken on it or something. And I've been trying to build muscle, and I like all I do is eat meat and eggs and try to eat as like much as possible because I'm trying to build. So it's a little different. I mean, I'll eat, till I can't eat anymore. It's like a job. But like if you're trying to lose weight, I think it's super easy. Like you said, you're not ever hungry. I have to like make myself eat.
Yeah, exactly. The best part was like I'm a food addict. I've always been a food addict, and I wake up every morning thinking about what I'm going to eat, or go to bed thinking about what I'm going to eat in the morning. That's constantly in my brain. And now I don't think about food. So and it's like the first time in my life that I don't think about food. So it's just
and I think it's super pretty easy for me anyway to sustain, like even when we're going out and stuff. Usually every place has a burger or steak, and I just get the biggest burger you can get and take the bread off of it and order it plain and dry. I think it's pretty simple. I mean, you can go through a burger place wherever. I'm sure that's not like the healthiest meat or the healthiest cooking method, but
that's what somebody commented on our thing. They're like, that Roadhouse cooks in seed oil or something like that. I'm like, it's not going to be perfect when we go out to eat, but we're going to do the best we can. I mean, it's going to be fine.
Well, it's funny when people criticize you, and it's like, what are you eating? You're eating straight junk, and you're criticizing us for eating the meat that's not quite as good.
Exactly. And first they criticize if you're fat, and then you're trying to get healthy, and now they're still criticizing you.
Yeah. You're going to get criticism no matter what. And I think like what kind of ticks me off about it is, we've been talking about advocating for our ag industry and stuff, and it's like, why is the ag industry not promoting health and diet and because I had no clue about it. I've been in the ag industry my whole life, and nobody has ever said, you can go on this diet where all you eat is meat, or all you eat is meat and eggs or whatever, and stuff that, you raise and work with every day. And it's like one of the healthiest things you can do. Or even if you don't go that far, even if you do paleo or keto or something, where you're just eating whole foods, like, why don't we promote that more?
Yep.
Well, most of the time when you look at an old farmer or rancher, most of them look like me. They're kind of pot-bellied, but that's because they get up and they eat a big breakfast. Then most of them go without throughout the day, and then they get home at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and they eat a big old meal and go straight to bed. So they're not working off any of the stuff that they're using throughout the day, and it's just, we're probably not the best proponent. I mean, we don't look the best, and we don't look like a guy that's been out there working out. But I think that's beginning to change because the younger generation, and I would say like your generation and the guys that are younger than me are starting to see, they're starting to pay a little more attention to that kind of stuff. And it's never really been that big a deal for farmers and ranchers to pay that much attention to it. It's like, as long as I can get up and go do my work. I mean, there's a lot of those old guys, just like, I mean, you can have a bodybuilder and you can put him right next to an old fat boy from a farm and he'll just work him in the dirt. That bodybuilder will be over there sucking wind, there's different kinds of muscle. There's different kinds of stamina and all that kind of stuff. And it's just, most guys are like, if I can get through the day, I'm good, but there needs to be some more emphasis placed on taking care of yourself and lasting longer.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, I think it's just lack of education. And I think, like you said, also, I mean, I don't know, sometimes I think I'm just in an echo chamber, and it seems like more people are thinking about it more, and about health and exercising and longevity and stuff. But I don't know if that's just, I'm just in an echo chamber or not. But like you said, I think the younger people are starting to change a little bit more and think about it. And I always just thought it was hippie food, organic and all this crap, but it was just lack of education.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody probably wants to live longer and feel better.
Yep.
And I just think that like the beef industry, could do a way better job of promoting look at these people on the carnivore diet, or,
right.
If you're a farmer, you could promote keto or, whatever. I just think there needs to be better marketing, in our industry to go more mainstream. And because it's taken people from the people that I follow that are promoting those diets are, not in the ag industry. It's from outside, and they come in with their mainstream ideas, and they can get a further reach just because they have a different way of thinking, I think.
Well, in the agriculture community, when you look at it, most of them don't view marketing as essential for their business. There are so many people that are just stuck with, I'm going to just stay over here in my little bubble. I'm not going to say nothing. I'm not going to make any noise, and I'm just going to try to fly under the radar. And then you see guys like, Certified Angus Beef. I mean, they've done a phenomenal job of marketing their product, and 44 Farms has taken off. Their Prime Pursuits program is a game changer. It's going to be a big time game changer to have higher quality meat in Walmarts across the United States, and because of that, it's going to only cause their business to grow. They're going to sell more bulls. They're going to be able to, and, even as like you with the Wealthy Cowboy, us with the Bar 7 Ranch, our social media side, we're just marketing ourselves. And if you don't do that, you're going to get left behind, and you're going to be wondering why, You're
going to be like the Hereford Association.
Yeah. Why are they doing so good and we're over here can't get nothing done? It's because you didn't do anything to promote it. You didn't do anything to change the narrative and get things, people to see and notice you. And that's what, the people that get it, and the ones that don't. It's like the big TikTok battle that's going on right now. That we get hate mail every single day about we're Chinese Communist Party sympathizers. I need to fly a Chinese flag and take my American flag down. It's like, do I think there's probably spying on us? Yeah. Do I think Facebook and Instagram spying on us? Absolutely. I mean, I think they're all trying to get information, but a lot of people don't see. So they still view social media as just a bunch of little kids dancing around and, just stupid stuff. They don't realize that it's a whole entire business. It's a whole entity in it itself,
That's what we have a bunch of comments on there right now. They're like, those people need to get real jobs anyways. Social media is not a real job, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like,
you don't,
you can't talk sense into, they just aren't going to understand it.
What a lot of what a lot of people don't realize is the power of social media. Not as far as politics and all that, but what you're seeing is a paradigm shift in the way that companies advertise. They can go spend, $50,000 or $60,000 developing a commercial that's going to air and may not get a few 100,000 eyes on it, and then they pay extra every time they run it, or they can spend $3,000 or $4,000 in products and put it in the hand of a content creator, and they may get millions of eyes on it, and it's cost them less money, and it's more organic. People trust more in it that, hey, this is, it's just like, if Cactus Saddler said, hey, Crockett, I want to send you 4 saddles. Are you going to say, no, don't send them to me?
Yeah.
I mean, we want you pick them how you want them, do what you want to with them, use them. And then every year we're just going to send you a new saddle. I mean, if you like that brand of saddle and you're confident in it, then yeah, you're going to take it and use it, right? Because why not? Why would you not take what might be a $3,000 or $4,000 saddle every year and use it, right? The same thing happens with all kinds of stuff, and these side-by-side companies are seeing it, that there's money better spent putting it in the hands of a content creator than it is putting it, on ESPN. Same thing with, we that's one of the things that we've kind of got to the point now where we have companies reaching out, wanting to work with us, and it's not because we're, the biggest rancher. We're not like the 4.6s where they're, like Air-Equip, sends us a chute to use, where the 4.6s might use it every day and get way more use out of it, but they're not promoting it. It doesn't do them any good, right? So they put it in our hands. We show it, a couple of times a month.
You get the eyeballs.
You get the eyeballs on it, and somebody's like, hey, well, I might try that, But in the same token, you got to be careful in those scenarios that you don't. I mean, we turn down hundreds of things a month. Like, hey, that is junk, and I ain't going to use that.
Not going to promote it.
No, thank
you. And it's
you.
on y'all's brand too, so it keeps you honest because you don't want to promote something that you wouldn't use yourself, and somebody buys it and like, this is shit.
Yeah. Yep. But the other thing there's a hard line there that we've, because when you get something like we've got a new feed mixer. Because we're putting in a little feed yard because we're wanting to move it. The next business venture we have is to sell boxed beef, to sell, ship, a quarter of a calf to somebody. And to do that, I can't be feeding them with a bucket. So we're going to, we got a new mixer. Well, we're working with a company on that. They sent us a vertical mixer to mix our ration in the feed. But you get that, well, you can't hide money. You can't do this. It's like, guys, just because we have it doesn't mean we paid for it, but it doesn't mean that we did. It mean we've paid for it, but we've paid for it in producing content, and that has a value, And it's hard to get some of the older generation or some people that are less educated about the way this all works to realize that, hey, that's content creation isn't just about making videos. It's actually a job. It's a business in its own.
Yeah, and obviously you're providing value, or those people wouldn't keep doing
why
business
would they just
with
keep
you.
giving you stuff for free if you're not providing value? So.
And that social media thing is like, that's what I try to tell people too. I mean, in our payments business, that's what I try to tell people is like, hey, we can save y'all money on your credit card process, and then I would like you to go put that into marketing, social media marketing, either learn it or, pay a marketing agency. And I'm trying to learn that right now where I can provide that too. It's like, because if you have a business and you're not on social media, or if you're a day worker or whatever it is, if you provide a service and you're not on social media, then how are people going to find you?
Absolutely.
And you can, I've been going through courses and stuff. So like they said, Facebook has like 52,000 data points. Like they know you better than you know you. They know what you're going to do, what time you get on Facebook, what time you do this and that. And you can target the exact person, that you want to target, whether it's in the ag industry or in the cleaners, somebody wanting dry cleaning done or laundromat, or you can target your exact customer that you want. Instead of, you can spend $20 a day and reach 1,000 people that are the customer that you exactly want, as opposed to getting a TV commercial, which a lot of people aren't even watching those anyway, whether it's streaming service or DVR, they're skipping the commercials. And they might tell you we reached 10,000 people, but how many actually saw it, and then also how many are even close to a prospect that are going to come do business with you.
That's right. That's people, like, we don't watch regular TV. I mean, we don't even have a satellite dish or anything like that. I mean, we just, anything we watch is on like Netflix or, Amazon Prime or something like that.
Every time we're in a hotel, I try to catch our commercial because I'm like, we don't watch that stuff at our house.
So people's viewing habits have changed. Like you said, they might spend it on an advertisement on TV, but most of those people get up and go to the bathroom or something, But when you're sitting flicking through your phone and it comes up, oh, here's Crockett and he's got a new hot shot. Well, he works a lot of cows, so if he's using that hot shot, I think I'm going to go try that, check it out at your local feed store, call, K&K Vet Supply and pick it up, whatever it is. So it's a shift in the way our society has done everything. Used to everybody got up and read a newspaper every morning. When's the last time you picked up a paper copy of a newspaper? You may have never even had one, right?
Yeah, my parents still get it and I see it, but yeah, I don't remember the last time I looked through one.
You may not even pull it up on your phone. I mean, we have our local paper on our phone.
I don't even do that anymore.
Don't even look at it. That's not where people want to get their news and their entertainment from.
I feel like I'm getting older now or more mature because when I wake up in the morning, I usually watch, Channel 10 or whatever, the local news. Before I get up and start doing stuff, I watch the weather and, a few local shootings or whatever is happening, and which I feel like that's like old people doings. But yeah, I haven't read a newspaper or I think magazines are still they're kind of going by the wayside too now. And any national news, I get them from podcast or, the Facebook or the internet or whatever, which you can't believe everything nowadays, but you can't believe the people on TV either. Right. So
that's the worst part about our society right now is you don't know who and what to trust anymore. I mean, it's just, like the TikTok deal. I mean, when I saw that the first two people wanting to buy TikTok when it goes up for sale is Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, that's like Amazon Prime has been hit pretty hard because of TikTok Shop, and Facebook viewership is down because follow the money is what I say sometimes.
Oh, yeah. If you do that, if you zoom out and look at the whole picture, like who would benefit the most from this? Obviously, you see who's trying to get it done.
Right.
So, and what about y'all's, so we haven't talked about y'all are business owners. I did get to help y'all with credit card processing there, but y'all have a cleaner, dry cleaning and then laundromat. Talk a little bit about that. How's that been?
So that was all kind of an accident too. I was working at the dealership at the time, and my cousin is a banker in town, and he came to me and said, "Hey, there's actually a tire shop that's going to come up for sale." It was Pruitt's Tires out there on the, and he said, if you want to buy it, he said we could partner on it and we could buy this thing. You run it, I'll be a silent partner. So I made a phone call to buy it, and the guy that answered said, "Hey, there's 3 other guys coming this week. If I can talk to you after I talk to them." And I'm like, "Man, you can't get no deal if there's 3 or 4 people wanting to buy something." So I just kind of backed out. Well, a guy bought it, no big deal. But a couple of weeks later, my cousin called me and said, "Hey, the cleaners is coming up for sale. Do you have any interest in that?" And I said, "Well, sure, I'll go look at it." So I had 2 weeks of vacation saved at the dealership, and I took both of those 2 weeks off and went and sat up there and watched the way it run, spent a day doing each one of the jobs, watching how everybody did their work and going over the books, and it looked like it would work. So we put in an offer and bought it. So, I went from selling cars to owning and operating a dry cleaners and a laundromat.
Just kind of evolved from working on a yearling operation to car salesman to cleaner owner.
Right. But it allowed me, I went from working a bunch of hours in the feed yard to a bunch of hours at the car dealership, because you're basically an independent employee at the car dealership. If you're not there, you're not going to sell a car, and you work on a commission, so you don't earn an income. So, they wanted you there from 8 till 6 or 7 o'clock every night. And I left the feed yard to go so we'd have more time at home with the kids. And it was like, I'm having to work every Saturday and I'm not really getting more time. At least here, I can set my own hours. So, took a huge pay cut from the dealership to go to own the cleaners. as far as my monthly income, long run, it's a way better deal having your own business. But our business there runs very, very smoothly. I mean, I have really good employees. We have pretty low turnover, and they've all been there longer than I have. So I just make sure they got everything they need to do their work and manage the books and all that. That led into what was next.
Rental.
We bought some duplexes, and I managed those. And then a few years after that, we started building spec homes. We build 1 or 2 spec homes a year. We've done that for, I guess we built 4 houses. So the last few years, we've been building a couple of spec homes. And then that's led into, so with all those different streams of income, I mean, that's really what we look for. I mean, anybody can kill themselves just being a hand for somebody
Trading
else.
time for money.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I want to be able to enjoy my stuff. I want to be able to ride around on my place and look at the cows and look at the sheep and find a piece of broke fence to tell Clancy to go fix or something like that. And if you're just working for somebody else, it's like you never really get there. You never have the time to enjoy what you're working for. So
He still makes me work for someone else.
yeah, well, we got to have insurance. But that's one thing. I mean, we work. I mean, we may not be filthy at the end of the day, but we're always constantly working. And I have these things I call them NIPs, non-income producers. And we try not to waste any money on stuff like that. We still, people think when they see some of the stuff that we do, those guys, we budget our money. We don't smoke. We don't drink. We don't go on big lavish vacations. If we go somewhere, it's because somebody's paid us to come speak. And while we're there, we're going to go do something while we're there. We don't go to Florida or something just to go. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that, but we just, yeah, we did go to Galveston once. But, and I try to, if we're going to buy something, I want to be sure it's something that's going to improve what we're doing someplace else, so that we're not just going to waste it on something. We give ourselves a certain amount of cash to spend on whatever we want to each month, basically a spending allowance. And it may be like $80 or something, that's my blow money is what we call it. Whatever you want to get with your blow money, nobody's griping at each other. So we're big fans of Dave Ramsey. I mean, it helped us. We never really had a lot of debt, but we were able to get out of debt, and we don't, all we owe money on is our house and a little bit on our businesses. But, we don't use credit cards. We don't even have credit cards. We pay cash or use our debit card, which is directly out of your account. But,
yeah.
So yeah, we try to handle our business and take care of it. And if you do that, if you take care of your businesses, they'll take care of you, and then you don't have to be there to run them all the time. So I'm a big fan of run your business, not let your business run you.
Right. Yeah. That's what, I tell people, that's who I'm dealing with all the time as business owners. It's like, and I've got myself into those deals where it's like, you're going out being an entrepreneur, but you're real and starting a business, but really you're just giving yourself a job. You're not actually a business owner. You just got a job for yourself. And it's odd. I mean, I'm working on that, trying lots of different things, seeing what sticks. And there's 2 ways to go about it. Like, if you want to be like most people that listen to this probably want to have their, to live the ranch lifestyle, whether they own it or work on it. And that's what the 2 ways are. If you're going to own it, you're probably going to have to go do something else that pays better to start out anyway, whether that's buying a business in town, which is a great opportunity. And like right now, with the baby boomers wanting to retire and stuff, that's a huge thing that people are big venture capitalists, and all these people are going out and buying these businesses, boring businesses, laundromats, whatever they are, and, improving them a little bit and, putting some time into them and making them make some money. And then you can kind of step away and buy your time back and go do whatever you want, whether that's ranching or, sitting on the couch, I guess, whatever. Or the other route is just if all you want to do is be on a ranch and you have no desire to do anything else, then go get a job at the Sixes, and that's what you're going to do every day. Yeah. You're never going to retire. You're never going to own anything probably. And,
You don't have near as many headaches.
Yeah, sometimes that's a better life, way less stressful. You're just, when the job's over, I mean, you can go home and sleep and not worry about anything. When you start doing stuff yourself, you have dealing with people and, commitments and how am I going to pay this bill and how am I going to do this and I got to do this, and stuff starts stacking up. So it's a little bit more stressful, which I kind of like it. The stress motivates me, but everybody's different.
Right. One of the things we hear all the time, and it really burns me to the core, is, people say, well, must be nice, or you can't hide money. And I've already said this once, but my response to that, to the majority of those people, is you have the same 24 hours in your day as I have in mine. Mm-hmm. If you choose to waste yours getting drunk or getting high or whatever it is you choose to do.
Sitting on the couch.
Mm-hmm. Sitting on the couch, vegging out, looking at your phone, and griping about how other people are being successful and you're not, that's on you, and it's like, well, I work 80 hours a week, and and I'm okay. I've lived the 80-hour-a-week lifestyle, and there's one of two things going on there. Either you're not getting paid enough for the time you're giving that person or that company, because if I'm working 80 hours a week, I better be making some bank, Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
If I'm going to give you 80 hours of my week every week, you better be paying me for that. Mm-hmm. And number two, if you're not getting paid for it, you're probably not as good a hand as you think you are, and you're just a warm body there that they know they can manipulate and use. So,
yeah, you need to improve your skill set.
Exactly. You need to go find you somebody that'll pay you the same amount for 80 hours, but you work 40 hours. Mm-hmm. And then you get some free time and you can go do some of the other stuff. Or you get you a second job, our whole society, not our whole society, but a lot of people have just gotten lazy. They're not willing to work. And when they do go to work, they spend more time looking at their phone or just being a warm body, not actually doing something to get ahead. And then they hate on the people that do get ahead because they actually, when you go day work, I know you don't probably day work with many guys that you don't know, but I mean, like when we were working calves all the time for Charles, I wanted to be if I was working the head, I wanted to be finished before the guy working the tail was. And if I was working on the tail, I wanted to be finished before the guy working the head.
It's like a competition. That's how I see it.
I never wanted anybody waiting on me to finish my job. I wanted to, and not because I thought I was better than them, but because to me, it was a competition. I want to get my job done. I want to get it done right. Because when you do that, people notice that. Mm-hmm. And you're the guy that gets called back. You're the guy that gets promoted. You're the guy that, takes on those higher levels of responsibility within companies or businesses. If you're just showing up, 5 minutes late every day and you just kind of don't really get nothing done, and you're the first hey, I need to send somebody home early today, and you're the first one to stick your hand up. And you wonder why you don't have anything? I mean, there's a pretty good reason, right? Because you don't want much. So,
yeah, it's. I heard a good deal the other day. I've never had a real.
We should have brought you some Chuck Norris. We got some picked up there.
I've never had a real job. I worked for Sid Miller where you had to clock in and clock out, but I was riding horses and doing whatever. I don't necessarily say it was a real job, but everything else has been like, a day work contract type deal or something like that. So I don't have like the employee mindset, but a lot of people do. That's all they want is the security of being an employee. But I heard a really good deal the other day of if you are an employee and you don't want to be an entrepreneur and take that risk, just go to your boss and say, how am I making this company money and how can I make more money to where you're going to pay me more? Provide more value, and then just start working towards that. Mm-hmm. And whether it's staying late or taking more responsibility or something. And I think that's a really good way for employees to go up. And like my whole life, like when I was working at the sale barns, I was trying to figure out ways to make more money. The sale barn's going to pay me so much, but what if I buy some stuff for somebody, and make a little money there, or haul something to or from the sale barn, or take 3 outside horses up there and ride them, I'm going to make this much more money. Or if I take some dog food up there and sell it or whatever it is, I'm trying to figure out how to, make some more money here and there doing the things that I was going to be doing anyway. I think whether you're an employee or a, entrepreneur, there's ways you can make more money and improve your value that you're providing.
as an employer, you know, the employees that are showing some integrity, the employees that are showing some those are the ones that you're going to, you know, you value them. You don't want to lose them. You don't want them to go find another job. And the ones that just aren't doing anything, don't care. I mean, it's like, you're really just taking up space. You know, you're here to do what I need you to do. But other than that, I talked to a guy this week that at 16 years old, he went to work for a company, and now he's one of the vice presidents of the company. I mean, and he's in his 40s now. So he put in, roughly 24 years of time with them. He wasn't not showing up to work every day, right? He was doing his job, and he was doing more than his job, and he was excelling because the powers that be above him noticed that and took that into consideration. So, yeah, that's a big. It's okay to be an employee, but be a good employee. Don't just be a spot filler.
Yeah, I think on Buster's episode or something, on one of them, we talked about like it's super easy nowadays because the bar is set so low.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like Biden's State of the Union the other day. It's like if he stayed alive, he did good, But the bar is so low on being an employee. Is like if you show up on time, much less early, there's a big win. If you stay the whole time, there's a big win. And you do that consistently, I mean, you're probably going to raise up in the ranks just from being on time and being there. Much less if you put out a little bit while you're there, it's not that hard. So if you go, because I mean, I see my dad has employees and he's dealing with that. And I've, hired some people to help me before, and I have to deal with that. And you're an employer and you have to deal with that. And it's like just finding somebody that will work a little bit, show up on time, stay the whole time, and not be trying to call in sick all the time you're like, hell, this is a good person here.
Yeah.
The bar is super low. So
we as a society have also, we've done our kids a disfavor because nobody wants their kid to have to work anymore. They don't make them. Very few kids do you ever drive by and see are mowing the yards anymore. Mom and dad's got somebody to come do that because, we don't want little Timmy to cut his toe off or something, Well, he learned to push a lawnmower if he cuts his big toe off, right? But so many people just don't even know how to work anymore. And the ones that, if they do show up for work, they think they're worth $15 or $20 an hour when they're really about an $8 an hour or $7 an hour employee, And that's one thing, like people ask us all the time, well, do you pay Clancy for all the work he does on y'all's place? Well, we put a roof and stuff over his head, but there's normal things that just a kid just has to do, right? I mean, you had to do it as a kid, right? I mean, you're going to take the trash out, you're going to mow the yard, you're going to pick up whatever rocks I tell you to pick up. Now, if we're going to go haul hay for somebody else and I'm getting paid to haul it, well, I'm going to pay him for driving or whatever, because I also want him to learn that, hey, all work isn't just for nothing, The stuff we do for the family, that's our family stuff, but the stuff that we're doing that's side money, I can earn I can earn an income there, and that's one thing I think we've done a good job, or we try to do a good job of, is teaching our kids the value of money. And I don't sound like we're all just we love money and we got to have it, but
we do got to have it.
We do got to have it, but you can be poor and happy, or you can be rich and miserable. It doesn't, money doesn't make you happy, but having a good work ethic, being a good employee, and I don't really even want to raise my son to be an employee. I want him to be an entrepreneur. I want him to work for himself. I want him to, and you actually have to work harder to be an entrepreneur than you do an employee, because just like you day working, if you just decide not to get up and go to work today, man, I think I'm going to stay home. Well, you don't draw a check today, right? Yeah. You don't earn any money. So it's a little harder than everybody thinks it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a hustle. And I understand both sides. Like, not everybody's cut out to do that and take the risk. I feel like I'm pretty high risk tolerant and a gambler of sort. And, I don't care. If I don't make any money today, I'll figure something out to make more money tomorrow, And I've just never, and I think it was my upbringing, is like Dad never, I wanted to go get a job, and the jobs I was going to get were going to be nothing, basically, make $150 a week at the feed store or something. And it was probably smart to not get stuck in that he told me, if you go rope and you go ride horses, you go practice every day, put that time into that, you can make something of it, which I don't know how much money I made roping, but it led into everything else that I'm doing now. So I've always just been accustomed to not having that security. And it's like, if you want money, go out and get it. It's not like you're going to go here every day and you're going to get paid the same thing. And there's benefits to either one. It just depends on everybody's personality. And
That's right.
And that's what I've started realizing through my short life experiences. Like, everybody's different. I'm not going to tell everybody go on the carnivore diet or work out this way or this, to be an entrepreneur. It's like, just, you got to know yourself and then kind of work towards that and, see what your dream life would be. And it's like, most people close their eyes and say, because I've done this exercise before at events, it's like, close your eyes and picture yourself, in your dream life. Are you going to be sitting on the beach? What are you going to look like? Are you going to be out of shape, or are you going to be muscular and skinny or whatever? And are you going to have money? And start picturing all that stuff and then start working towards it. And it's like, most people never think about that. So they just, we're just living day to day and not thinking about any of that. So it's, I think everybody just needs to figure that out for themselves. But to wrap that up, what is y'all's favorite meal? And it's probably changed a little bit now since you're on the carnivore diet, but
Steak.
I love just hamburger patties. I mean, I could eat them every day, 2 or 3 of them every day. So, I still love a good steak, but I just like hamburger patties. I love them.
Me too. I like a good juicy cheeseburger.
See, I'm the opposite. I don't like eating ground meat that much.
But yeah, there's really lots of things you can do on the carnivore. Change it up, eat different cuts of steak and hamburger patties, or scramble up some ground beef or whatever. But
last night we had New York strips and fillets, and that's pretty hard to beat.
Oh yeah. So. And that's another thing, like on the education deal, my parents never knew the grades of meat until I taught them that I learned in meat science at Tarleton. Was like, hey, if you buy this deal that says choice or prime, it's like way better.
Yeah.
So that's all we get now. It's like, that select stuff is crap.
Yeah.
Since y'all been getting to travel a lot, what's your favorite place to visit, or that you visited so far?
Jekyll Island, Georgia was my favorite. It was like just beautiful over there. It looked like a scene out of a movie with all the like mossy trees hanging, and I don't know, it was really pretty.
I've really enjoyed the time that we've got to spend in New York, there around Syracuse. We've got to go see quite a few little, folks that have taken it. They've gotten rid of like their dairy cows and started running beef cattle, and they run them in confinement a lot during the wintertime, but it's really pretty up there. But probably the funnest trip we've been on is when we went to Florida and we got to go down to Fort Lauderdale and hunt iguanas and catch a snake, catch a python in the Everglades. That was a lot of fun. I would highly recommend that if you ever go down there and can go iguana hunting and go python hunting, I would do it. It's a blast.
Did you bring the snake in the boat with you, or how did?
Yeah, we caught it on land and put it in a bag, and I was supposed to get him skinned and make a pair of boots, but my bootmaker said that he's not going to be big enough to make you a pair of boots out of. So
the python hunt was fun, but I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it again. Like, it was very.
That was riding around on an airboat, not airboat, but
how big was this? How big was the python?
It wasn't very
about
big.
7 foot is the one I caught.
It's probably plenty big enough for me.
I wanted to catch a state record, but it just kind of luck of the draw what you found that day. So that night it was raining the whole time we were walking around on these little islands looking for a snake, and finally found one. And
yeah,
like how many did
then
we
you
walk
catch
over?
it? You catch it by hand. You reach down and grab him by the back of the head. And I'll show you the video here.
Sutton got messed up like that, catching a rattlesnake that way.
Well, pythons ain't poisonous, so I'm not worried about that. But I love Shannon, but I think I got a little more sense in him when it comes to some things. So,
what about are either y'all readers at all? Or you listen to audibles or anything like that?
Go ahead, you're the reader. I like to. I try to read. I just don't get that. I mean, I like to read educational stuff that, like, when I'm trying to research something that I want to do, a new business venture or something like that. We did start reading the Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We got Clancy reading it as we're all reading it as a family and talking about it. I love to read the Bible. I mean, I teach Sunday school on every Sunday morning at our church there, and so I spend a lot of time kind of preparing for that. And really, that's about it. I mean, that's about it. I'm not a big reader.
I've been reading Atomic Habits, which I think I've read before, but I was reading that again. That's my Audible book right now.
Yeah.
And then Uneducated. Is it Uneducated or Educated? No, I can't remember. I think it's called Educated.
I don't think you pay attention when you read.
Like, educated or uneducated? Well, I don't ever see the cover because it's on my Kindle.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't ever see the title of it. Anyway, it's a true story. It's like an autobiography. It's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always liked biographies and stuff. I mean, I read a lot in school and then didn't for a long time, thought books were dumb, and then got into the Ben K. Green books is what got me back reading and just cowboy stories and stuff. And then now it's business books, which I like. I'm in the truck all the time, so podcasts and audibles are how I like to read them.
Have you read The Time It Never Rained? Mm-hmm. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, it reminds me of modern society sometimes. what we go through, I'm like, is it ever going to rain again? We're always in a freaking drought. Yeah, that deal's crazy, that story. If y'all haven't read that, it goes... basically, probably people have struggled with that recently. I'm sure it's like he did cattle. What do you have, cattle and sheep first? And then he sold the cattle and went to sheep and then had goats. He had all three, I think, at some point, and then it finally just got to where completely basically went out of business just through Mother Nature. That's a cool story, though. What about podcasts? Are y'all listening to podcasts?
We listen to The Wealthy Cowboy. I'm not a big... So, my drive to town is about probably 25 minutes every morning. And I was telling somebody this the other day that I just wake up and I'm in town, basically. So not that I sleep on the way to town, but
Your mind thinks.
I turn my radio off most of the time on the morning drive in, and I'm just thinking about what all I have to get accomplished that day to make everything else not be a wreck the rest of the time, So I don't listen to podcasts that much. I've tried a few times, but I hadn't really found anything that just really stuck that I really liked, What about you?
Dave Ramsey, or I listen to true crime podcasts. That's always my favorite. Not educational, but
yeah, I've just always been in the truck a lot, I guess. So it was always music. I always thought it was weird if somebody didn't have the radio on at all in the vehicle or nothing going.
yeah, it's too silent.
But unless you're talking, I guess. But Shady gets mad at me because I always listen to podcasts now, and she'll be quiet for a long time and then all of a sudden start talking, so I'll pause it, listen to her, and then go back, turn it back on.
When she quits talking, you turn it back on.
And then she's like, this is ridiculous.
This is what I deal with too. Think Media. Have you ever listened to their podcast? Or their
I've
YouTube
heard
channel?
I've heard of that.
It's really good. It talks a lot about creators and
Who
how
is
to do
that?
things. I don't know who the guys are that are on it, but
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've heard of
they're
that.
really good. They do a lot of tips on YouTube and about YouTube and stuff like that.
How to up your content creation game to get more
Yeah.
views, get more
Yep.
exposure, that kind of stuff.
Cool. Well, thank y'all for coming on, and y'all go check out Bar 7 Ranch y'all are on everything, right? Bar 7 Ranch.
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, X. You on X, but you don't
We're
have
on
to put
X,
nothing on
so
there.
we don't X.
Yeah. Well, y'all check out Bar 7 Ranch. Please share out this episode. If you didn't get anything out of it, maybe somebody else will. So share it out. We'll see y'all next time.
Y'all keep ranching.